Working at home, Pearson Coucher Law. 215-627-0700 or hit them up online at mywclawyer.com. Pearson Coucher Law. Workers' comp. That's all we do.
CMPRadio.net. It's the station.
Hey guys, Jacqueline Tucker here. Anytime I'm in the mood for some R&B, I'm listening to my CMP Radio app. Make sure you go and download it.
CMPRadio.net.
La 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 la. Behind the scene, my tears fall down. So many things have happened. The years go by and the friends you have for no more. Jealousy and envy. Wow, because you keep on grinding. People wanna see you fail, and although you fall, just move on. Crabs in a barrel, want what you have, try to pull you down. Don't wanna work, just wanna take. They also hate on me. The more you hate, I'll get lifted. Hate on me.
The more you hate, I'll get lifted. I love that song. Hello, 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 hello. How's everybody out there doing in Facebook land? Yeah, thank you. I know. I want to welcome y'all out tonight for this interesting conversation we're going to have this evening. I want to introduce, once again, she was here last week. I think I'm going to have her come back again. Honestly, we have Miss Diamond in the building.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing? So just to get kicked off, can you just tell them what you do and where they can find you?
So I'm Diamond, and I do a lot of things. I am everywhere, as my husband like me to say, but I am everywhere. I am a publicist. I'm also an author. I'm a nurse by profession. I'm a filmmaker, spoken word artist. I do all things creative. I love empowering people in various creative ways. And you can find me on all social media outlets.
Cool beans. Oh,
Under Sherelle Diamond Holdings, or Radical Diamond, and Radical is with a K,
you done?
etc.
Nah, because I was about to come up in. What's going on, Tyrone? How you doing tonight? I was about to come back in, but the first time around, I was kind of like getting ready to step in because it was one of those extended commas.
You know, when
So-
you have a long resume, you could just gotta talk for hours, you know?
Oh, you
That's
gotta
all
take
it
your
is.
time.
You gotta take your time.
Gotta take your time with it. Breathe a little bit. So, this evening, as always, we're going to talk a little bit about relationships, as we always do here at Open Mics Cafe Live. So, the first thing we want to do is open up with a poem. And when we do this poem, it's one that myself and Diamond had collaborated on. And
Starts the argument every time.
yeah, because she always trying to tell me it's not the original version and it's the original version, so I don't know what to do with that. So y'all have heard me.
Spoken word piece a lot without me, so he has made it so that my piece doesn't even exist to his audience.
That's not true. I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and do the female part and the male part. It start looking weird. But anyway, this is I Can't Share Your Pillow, and this is actually what we're going to be breaking down today. And I'll expand on that more when we get finished with this this quick poem. So, I'm pushing your moaning.
I'm scratching your groin.
We climax. Before my pulse rate declines, my phone rings. I already know it's my bull on the line. I've Told him to call so I could tell you a lie. You asked me to stay, yet I quickly declined. I can't share your pillow with you. And in your eyes, I see disappointment, but you don't understand. I can't allow myself to feel what you've given me is so honest yet real that first it was only sex appeal, but now I find myself confused. You see, I can't express love. Stuck in a man's body, I'm still only a child attuned with the streets and the call of the wild. I've never learned to love, and so I run away. Don't want nobody else to have you, but yet and still I'm too abused to stay. You see, my real father was the same way, and I resented him for that, and so I guess maybe in reality I hate myself.
I lay silently crying and really dying as you fill me with your venom of insecurities and multiple personalities. As our limbs intertwine, your soul hemmed into mine. I had to take a number because the list of men that hurt me was a long line. As my creative mind was moving at lightning speed, I knew I had to be quick to anticipate your every move. In a way, I had hoped that this would be the performance that made you stay. I wanted to be your soul, stretch your temptress, for you to dare to take a chance to get to know me. As I lay here pretending to be tired, my tears I hold back so you won't think that I'm wired. I just put my best thing down, and in 3 minutes, my brother, you won't even be around.
But what else can I do? You see, I'm just one man who has been hurt too. Under construction, I find myself self-destructing, and baby, I just don't want to take you. You have given me so much without ever asking for one thing in return, and although you are always in my corner, I still have not learned to share your pillow, and I know it hurts you, but guess what? Baby, I'm hurting too. How can I make love to you when the only thing I've ever known is how to screw? I can't share your pillow. I walk through this pain, I hide my tears, I reach for my keys, and you just lay there.
Already a distant memory, I added you to my mental Rolodex under quick to retreat. I let you toss me around. It wasn't you but me that took off my crown. Not knowing that I was created to be the queen, I accepted that I was just an emotional being. I pulled out all the stops to set the scene. Candlelight, a little plate light, and the end result is I'm the only one holding my pillow tonight. I put all I had into making your fantasies come true, not once thinking about how I wanted to be rude. As the harsh reality entered my mind, my body started shaking. But you weren't paying attention to my tears. You thought it was a reaction from your love making. For attention, I did anything. For love, I did everything. For my self-respect and growth, I did nothing. With every breath, I wanted to scream, please don't leave.
And then you're going to give me this blank stare and ask me, will I call? I closed your door deep down inside. I knew that made you feel like a horror. Still in your front steps, wanting to rush back to tell you how much I adored you. How I get scared when your body trembles when you call out for me. And baby, maybe that's just why I ignore you. How when I'm alone, I drop to my knees and I shed tears for you. You see, I can't share your pillow. Maybe I should just leave you alone. I see the hurt in your eyes when other women get the ring in my phone. But you see, I can't help myself. My problems and pain run too deep. I'm too proud to ask for help. You see, you are the best thing that has ever happened to me, but what I don't tell you, I guess you'll never know. And although I love you more than I love myself sometimes, baby, I just can't share your pillow.
My purpose was tied to the bottom of your shoes. While you were here, my life had meaning. I felt the demons circling around, ready to pounce in my mind as you tied your Timbs and descended the stairs 2 at a time. The tears began cascading and my voice became shallow. I didn't have the courage to plead for you to hold me and not leave. To continue our random escapades, I had to appear non-clinging. I told you that I was just an emotional being. So I swallowed my tears and checked my pride. I silently answered an unspoken goodbye. I often wonder why I allowed you to caress me like a weeping willow. I bared my soul, I cried out, please don't go in. Still, you couldn't share my pillow.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. She wanted me to say this last part that I wasn't going to say, but it's all good. We grown. And so this poem that we wrote, it's kind of like an introspective look on each other's part, an honest introspective look on how relationships kind of work, the thoughts that we have in our heads that we don't necessarily share with each other.
Right.
We don't necessarily talk to each other about these things. These are just the things that we think. And you got to kind of ask yourself, You know, we often talk about, you know, who's responsible for your pain, who's responsible for the things that you're going through. You know what I mean? One of my main thoughts when it comes down to a question like that is you're responsible for that. You're responsible for the things that you say and you don't say. You got what I'm saying? I think a lot of times if we understood ourselves better, if we knew exactly who we were, then it becomes much easier to navigate life. It becomes much easier to navigate relationships because I think a lot of us just don't know who we are, nor how to express ourselves.
Right. I think even with the lyrics that we have in here, a lot of stuff that you said on your part, it's not even just knowing yourself. It's being in a relationship where you feel safe enough to share the things that you've been through or how you're thinking. Like this whole conversation that we did in Share Your Pillow, like even though we're voicing the unspoken words that happen after you smash, for lack of, for lack of words, after you smash,
After you have sexual intercourse.
He's like, I'm pushing your moan, you're scratching, you groan, and we climax. That's the end of it. And all the words that Mike said and I said,
It's just the beginning of it,
it's
honestly.
what's going on in our heads, but we never conversed in that moment. Like in the poem, in the spoken word piece, those two people never actually speak. It's just what they think they see in their eyes, is what they're feeling, but they never express it. And a lot of times in relationships,
Turn her mic up. Can you turn her mic up? Is it?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
way better.
So we don't create a space where we feel safe enough to be able to express those thoughts. We just have them in our head and we act on them. And then the other person that we're in a relationship with misinterprets what they see, never knowing that it wasn't intended that way.
Well, because a lot of times, because we don't talk, we got to realize how communication works. See, communication, it's not just those verbal cues that we give. Communication is a lot of body language and things of that nature. So guess what? We could lay down together. We can have sex. You know what I mean? We can both climax. I could lay there for a couple seconds. You could lay next to me. In my mind's eye, it might be like, all right, let me lay here for a couple seconds so she'll be cool. But the honest to God truth is, she may never say, well, I'm not cool when you just lay here for a couple seconds. You know what I mean? I need you to lay here longer. And as a matter of fact, I got a crazy story about that. Way back in the day, I was seeing somebody, but they had a dude. It is what it is. I'm a young boy, whatever. So the whole time she would come, the guy was really abusive to her, and she would sneak over and she would basically, have sex with me. And right after climax, right after everything was done, she would immediately get up, put her clothes on and leave. So she did that about, 4 or 5 times. So the very last time I said, well, damn, I don't get no pillow talk or anything. You know what I mean? She looked me dead in my eyes and said, you know what this is? And the honest to God truth is, I didn't know what it was. I really didn't, which spurred me to ask the question, like, damn, I don't get no pillow talk.
Right.
And so every time we met up, we had like bullshit conversation. We got to the deed. And once the deed was done, I wanted to bust it up with her more, but she was like, this is what I need from you in this moment.
Right.
And maybe she needed to feel like she was a human being. Maybe the way that I made her feel in those instances was enough for her, but that's all she wanted from me, all she wanted from that moment. Maybe she wasn't trying to create another emotional tie, but all of these things wound up just being, you know what this is.
Right. Yeah. A lot of times in relationships, people misinterpret sex versus intimacy. Having the physical part of it, having sex is like, it's just anatomy. You put That's one good. Thing and, it's going to go together. You know what I'm saying? But being intimate with people, some people would rather give up their body versus give up their heart.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people have a high body count or have a body count, but how many people have actually penetrated their heart?
So let's break down body count, because sometimes people listening come from all different places and they might not understand what having a body count is. So having a body count is just simply how many people you slept with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, some people keep a count, some people don't. You know what I mean? But some people have high body counts. But there's a reason for that.
Right.
You know, and a lot of times I think because we don't understand ourselves, I think a lot of times the reasons for high body count may be really superficial on the surface. Like, well, it feels good. I enjoy sleeping with multiple people. I enjoy this. I enjoy that. And it's not to say that that can't be a possibility.
Right.
But also you have to realize that there's a lot of stuff
Yep.
that comes around with that. A lot of people tie value around what's in between their legs. A lot of people tie their value to what's in between their legs.
How you going to ring the bell on yourself?
I can ring my own damn
But
bell.
listen, it's another bell I should be able to ring, just putting that, taped up there. But listen, how about the flip side of that? People who have been traumatized in different areas of their life sometimes don't put value on their private part, so it's easy to give themselves up as an exchange for what they want, for affection maybe in that moment, or love or whatever, and they don't have value on that part. That's why it's so easy to give away.
Yeah, well, you know what? I can definitely agree with that. I mean, some people do stuff just because it's what they learned.
Right.
Some people do things out of habit. It's like that. They'll oftentimes say that people who are abused wind up being abusers or whatnot, and so sometimes it can definitely be, learned behavior, good or bad. I think it's important that we know who we are so we can understand why we do the things that we do. In a poem, for instance, when I was writing down that poem, I had somebody in mind when I was writing that poem down. I had a female in mind when I wrote that poem. And the honest to God truth is, I didn't want nobody to have her. I did not want anybody else to be with her, but yet and still, I did not want to give her what she needed. And although it was never spoken, it was kind of like understood, or I perceived it as being understood, because I always said, fair exchange is no robbery. It's like, shit, let me tell you something. A lot of times people act like, a lot of times women had acted towards me like them giving me sex was like, when you get into those arguments, like, okay, like, shit, well, I gave you something, like you doing me a favor. Guess what?
Fair
you got
exchange.
something out of it again.
That's what
So
they say.
fair exchange is never any robbery. Our motives may be different, but fair exchange is no robbery. Let me hit some of these comments real quick. Let me see. Hey, what's going on, Jerome? Hey, Fatima. Fatima said, that's why a lot of people misunderstand me. As they say, I take them by surprise because I say things that they don't expect. See, that's what conversation and expectation should be discussed prior to intimacy, because guess what? There is no real true love or anything without expectations. Everyone has them, and when someone tells you something, we have to believe it. And both of you make valid points. Thank you. Jerome said, I feel the ones who don't talk crave the contact and affection, yet fear the commitment. At least let me tell you something. Number one, I can argue with you a little bit with that, Fatima, just about, I think that for some people, expectations, like my belief system is kind of like, I don't have expectations on anybody. I just want you to be who you are. So if you are who you are, I see who you are. You know what I mean?
But that's an expectation. You expect them to be who they are.
Okay, well then call it that then. That'd be my only expectation, be you. Because I'm going to see you, and I make my assessment based off of who you're showing me. And a lot of times it's not a fair assessment because most people don't choose to be themselves when you meet them. People come with a bunch of baggage and shit. People, the one thing I do agree with is, you do have to have conversation and discuss stuff prior to intimacy, because guess what? Number one, it just makes fucking sense. Number two, should you really be smashing somebody you don't really know? Should you have sex with people you don't really know? And
I think that's
not knocking anybody for doing it though.
Right.
And as far as to Jerome's point, I do think that, people do crave contact and affection, and they may fear. I mean, we're human beings, we're communal creatures. So we like to be touched, we like to be held, we like to make love, we like to do all types of things, but we need other people. But a lot of times, it's just like being small and touching something too hot. You learn from your experiences and say, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to do that again. So you might want the good things that come from intimacy without the bad things that come from being in love or in a relationship. So I kind of get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also we easily made it normal to use sex and intimacy as synonyms. Because having sex, again, is a physical thing, but we want people to be intimate with you. You can be intimate and not
many
have
different
sex.
ways, yes,
Right,
yes,
and
you
not
can.
have sex. So
Yeah.
it's like if you want intimacy, if you use the word sex in that, then you are defining, that's
What
your
intimacy
perception.
is.
Right.
Yes,
but
I
if you
get it.
it's two different things. And again, this is how you have to know yourself. When we go back
All
to the
day.
topic, you have to know yourself.
All day.
So how you define things in your life will be how you act on them, and now be the world you create. And now you expect somebody else to have read from the same dictionary that you created, and that's not the world they live in.
You know what's so funny? I swear I done had about 3 or 4 shows, and Jerome and Fatima are typically like avid watchers, and we've actually talked before about how people understand words to mean different things. So even when we have conversation, we're using familiar words, but each person understands those familiar words differently, which normally causes a disconnect. It causes confusion, especially, let me tell you something, especially with intelligent people. When you let's say you go to college, you get your bachelor's, you get your master's. It's like the smarter you get, the easier it is to misconstrue, and the harder you fight to make your point.
Right. I get
That's
that.
just my whole look on it, but it is what it is. Let's see. So Fatima said, you learn what you live until you know better, and to unlearn and to relearn. Learning about yourself and your behavior and why you think or act the way you do. The best thing I ever did was take a psych class. Defense mechanism. Everyone should know this about themselves. I agree. Jerome said, other than honesty, I feel a lot of expectations that aren't openly spoken just set yourself up for failure and letdowns. Yeah. Fatima said, sex is not intimate. Yes, I have many intimate, personal, loving relationships without any sex involved, but I may love them on a astronomical level. And Jerome said, huge facts, Diamond. People are confused by the constructs of intimacy. Let me tell you something. The honest to God truth is, because we fail to really understand ourselves at heart, and we fail to really understand how to navigate conversation with people. And I guess that's why they saying like the art of conversation is lost. Everything is summed up in a meme or like a quick blurb on Instagram or Facebook, and then we get in front of each other and we just like, duh.
Right.
Right. People quick to send a dick pic, do an inbox or something,
Right.
and that's the best they got.
I'm trying to show you how I love you, how I feel about you. You
I
know
don't
what I
even
mean?
think that people do pickup lines anymore. I don't.
It's sad
know.
out here. It's sad out here for us
Yeah.
singles. But let me tell you how, like, we don't look at relationships on any level as, if you look at it as like a job application or a job description. You would not go and be an employee at just any job, because they're going to have expectations. They're going to require something from you, and then they're going to tell you, okay, you do this, and this is what we'll give to you. Your benefit. This is your benefit package. And sometimes the first thing we go to is how much they pay,
Yeah.
and what's my benefits. And we don't look at that when we go
do
into.
I have to work every weekend?
What time? What time off?
What the holidays look
Exactly.
like. What these
So, but if we
holidays
look
look
at that same format as going into a relationship, how many questions do we ask when we go into a relationship as if we went into for a job interview? Because they always, do you have any questions for us? They
Well,
ask.
you know what? Even half of the questions that you can possibly ask get criminalized in a way by Hollywood. It turns into jokes and stuff like that. If you was going to sit down with a man that wanted to court you, per se, and I call it courting. Don't judge me.
I do too.
If you sit down to court and a man is trying to court you, and one of your questions is, do you plan on having any more kids?
That's a big
Because I
question.
haven't had kids, or I had a kid, I don't want any more, or something like that. Let's say this is first date conversation. And to me personally, I don't think that it should be what you should say on a first date. Like, whether I'm not saying like there
I'm
shouldn't
listening.
be any limit on what you can say on a first date. I think that is a really real question, because quite honestly, if I want kids and you don't want any kids, it's no need in us seeing each other.
I thought you was
again.
taking the opposite side of that. That's why my eyes got big.
I was
That's why
just
my eyes
trying
got
to-
big.
Yeah, I'm sitting up here trying to get what it is that I'm trying to say together. The whole thing becomes, because we don't ask these questions, and we'll get 6 months in, really start getting deep with somebody.
Right.
And then turn around and find out through some random ass conversation something so deep as,
Yep.
I don't want any kids.
Or that's not my real name.
Exactly. Ha! Ha!
Listen,
You'll
that's
go
not
6
my real
months
name.
calling somebody T Brown.
Listen.
You know, you're like, come on, T
They
Brown.
using their
stop
middle
playing.
name or something like that. They ain't even their first name. You don't even know their government name. Like my eyes got big because the way me and you communicate, you'll be lost in thought if I just say something and I'll have to interject or I'll
Yeah.
forget what I'm saying. That's why I'm typing. But I believe, and I've learned the hard way, that you have to ask the hard questions in the
Up front.
beginning. And that way it's,
'Cause I ain't
you
wasting
know,
my
don't make
time.
it so like interrogation, but in a general conversation. And I would look at a man who don't ask me questions like that. If we're out on a date and you're not asking me anything deep and you're just on some
Yeah, you
old
don't go
superficial
back to
thing, I'm talking about building and living my life. I'm not in my 15, 20s and
Yeah,
you know, oh, you
yeah.
look cute or I like your boot. Like the
Yeah.
niceties is nice, but I need somebody with substance. What's your plan? What is it that do you like? You can date
Like,
people
what's
for
your plan?
What's your plan for your
I
life?
plan on taking over the world. What if they just say
Listen,
that?
I
Leave
say
it
that
there?
too. Me too. That's what we do every day. We
That's
can
what we
rock
do.
with that. We can build from that
Let me
conversation.
tell you something. The best questions that you can possibly ask of anybody, quite honestly. I mean, and I say these are first date questions to me. Okay, number one, kids are just important. Do you have any? Do you
Listen,
want any?
Do you claim them? Do you take care of them?
Yes. Or are you somebody fake baby mama?
Listen,
I need to know
Do
that.
people call you uncle a lot from different houses? How about that?
Do
You
a
know
lot
what I
of
mean? You
kids
got a
call
lot
you
of uncles.
uncle?
You got to
You know
ask
what I
these
mean?
questions.
Yeah, no doubt. And on top of that, you got to come forward and you got to be like, well, hey, if your goal in life is to get married or never be married,
Listen.
you need to ask, hey. And don't give up your answer from the gate, because sometimes, look, my daughter said something to me. We had a conversation not too long ago, and she said the craziest thing, and I'm gonna say this because she don't watch me. You know, basically, she don't watch me. My bad, kids. But basically, she said to me, like, some dude was trying to holler at her. You know, she was trying to get something done, and the dude was trying to holler at her. And she said, you know what really gets on my nerves? And I was like, what's that? She was like, dudes always ask, like, what you looking for in a man. That's what dudes ask females. Now, I didn't know that. I'll never ask that question because that don't make sense to me. What you looking for in a man? Then she said, why should I tell you what I'm looking for so you could try to be it? Mm-hmm. So you could try to be it until
Or
you
mimic
can't
it.
be it anymore?
Or
You know
mimic
what I mean?
it so you can
Till
get what you want.
need?
Because now I'm like,
You
this is
know?
exactly what I
Yeah.
wanted.
But it was so
But you feed 'em.
on point, though. It was so on point. You can't be feeding people what it is that you need in life so they can pretend to be it.
That's what I was saying about the Achilles Heel poem last week. Is
Yeah.
like I loaded the gun, Russian roulette. Like you give them all of the ammunition that they need to hurt you.
Yeah.
You know, they would
Yeah.
not know your secrets like that
Unless
if you
you
didn't
tell
tell
them.
them. Like,
Yeah.
look at what this already offered, what they
Yeah.
already do. Like, you really have to look at people's actions. What are you already doing?
Yes,
Where
I
did
always
you
tell
meet them
people,
at?
I'm a man of my actions, not a man of my words. It just so happens that my actions match up with my words.
Right.
Yo, if they not already doing, and let me tell you something. If somebody is trying to hit up on you, I'm telling you, superficially, check their Facebook, check their freaking Instagram, check all
Exactly.
that stuff. You have to, because let me tell you something. One of the most valuable resources that you have in your life is your fucking time. You cannot get your time back. Guess what? This morning is fucking gone. If you waste it today, it's gone. It's gone. So if you died tonight, if you knew you was going to die tonight, you would have lived a better morning. You would have lived a better day.
Right.
You would have did more shit with your time. So I think in terms of that, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to turn around and be 10 years into something. Man, let me tell you something. The sad part is most people won't be straight up with you. But we got to make our choices.
Right. You can't lie forever. You can lie for a long. I've
For a
seen people
little
get
bit.
away with some stuff. You know, have multiple marriages in different states, and especially certain professions that take you traveling, and you go from state to state. But what I wanted to say was, would you want to say something free for that?
Nah, go ahead, man. Because I just one more thing, because I'm on a rant.
I see.
Let me tell you.
I see.
Let me tell you something. Most people will ask you how you like to get hit before they ask you what your dreams are. Most people will ask you, do you suck dick, before they ask you what your dreams are. And let me tell you something. If people don't want to build with you, you shouldn't want to deal with them. You just shouldn't. And I understand we all got itches that need to be scratched. Yes, we do. But let me tell you, at the end of the day, if you're looking for something solid, then sometimes you might have to handle yourself until you can be handled by somebody worth handling you.
Because every decision comes with benefits and consequences. And if you take BS from the beginning, that's exactly what you're going to get.
You're setting a tone.
You are, and you're
setting a tone.
accepting it's all I'm worth. And this is what I do on social media. Like, people hit you in your inbox and all that other stuff. How you lead off in a conversation or a relationship with me is who you are. So if you lead with sex, that's exactly what you want. Like, that may be
That's what you're gonna get.
That's what you're going to get, and that's what you're settling for. So it can't go anywhere higher than this because that's what you led with.
Yeah.
So I look at people's social media page. Don't inbox me. Don't do that. If I do not accept or I don't accept, friend requests. I go to your page, you trying to talk to me, and all you have is a bunch of women that are half naked on your page. You're not
He
posting
might be an
any
artist. He might be
No,
a
you're not
photographer.
posting. Let me finish my you're not posting any of your artist music, since Mike wants to use an artist. You're not posting anything, Mike used artist as an example. You're not posting anything of substance or promoting anything. All you have is, memes and naked women as friends and stuff like that. I don't want nothing to do with you, because if I enter into a relationship or a conversation, this is exactly what I'm getting.
Well, hold on. This is the kicker too, though. This is the disclaimer.
No.
So you know how you look in your mirror on your car and it say things may appear closer than they actually are? This is the disclaimer for Facebook. Most people posting shit, it's not what it actually is. And so I say check out their Facebooks and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because people be up there posting pictures, living their best life, just having their face up in the jaw. You know what I mean? But in their background, it's dirty as shit. You step.
They don't
on their
even crop it out
carpet,
anymore.
You walk across their carpet and be like.
No, you can see the trifling in the background now. They don't even crop it out anymore.
So I'm just saying, like, just you got to be leery either way. But at least Facebook, in some terms, can tell you some things. Instagram, in some terms, can tell you some things. You won't know everything, but you can find out some things.
But here's another thing. When you know yourself, you know what you want and how someone represents themselves. They choose to represent themselves on social media. That's a choice they did. So they chose, and it could be different, as Mike said, appear different, but they chose to appear as if all they have is naked women friends and don't have any conversation, no substance.
Yes, indeed.
So that's how they're presenting themselves. That's like the first impression without us even having a conversation for me to know what you are really about. You chose to post certain things or befriend certain people to represent your image before I even get to know the depths of you.
Well, I'll tell you what, as a dude, if I go to a female's Facebook and you got like 50 naked pictures on, or half naked pictures of yourself, you know what I mean? To me personally, that screams you got issues. And to me personally, if I was just trying to smash on you or something like that, if I was just trying to have sex with you, all I have to do is pander to your pain.
Yep.
If I pander to your pain, are you missing daddy? I'll be your daddy for a little bit. For a little bit. You know what I mean? Until your issues become so great that I can no longer father you. You know what I mean? Till your issues get so great that I have to decide I'm no longer willing to participate in this. And the sad part is, that's exactly what happens. A lot of times, just once again, back to giving people the ammunition, most of the time you get hurt, you show people exactly how to hurt you. So the real problem here is we need to learn, why is it that we do the things we do? Why is it that when we go out, we don't ask these harder questions? And yes, some of us do. Some of us do, because some of us learned enough by watching other people bump their head. We may have bumped our heads once or twice.
Crashed and burned.
But we don't want to bump our heads that hard. And the sad part is, what we don't realize is everybody learns from the mistakes that they make. But it's how you apply what you learn. Sometimes you apply what you learned in the best way for growth. But sometimes you apply what you learn and it just resembles the pain that came from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now you're operating from this crazy place of pain. And I talk to y'all about that a lot. Operating from that pain, you cannot become stagnant and stuck in this space where you feel like, well, so-and-so did this to me, so from now on, once you say that, you screwing yourself, man.
Yeah.
You screwing
You
yourself.
always have the power in a relationship, but again, you have to know yourself, know what you want. And I always say, be prepared. Be prepared just as if you're going to a job. You know, you want to dress the part, you want to look the image, you want to come prepared with your resume. This is what I bring to the table. And I'm always, my season in life is your next, this is what I tell people I mentor, your next first date can be your last.
Oh, yeah.
Your next one can be your last. Because if you do the work, then you're not entertaining nonsense and spending months and years and, you know, energy and emotions into something.
Like, people are getting something and they'll be so deep into it that they'll just keep on riding it out.
Eventually it will change.
A lot of people will say, I put too much time and energy into this. So that just means you're going to put twice as much if you already have to say too much.
Yeah.
You got what I'm saying? Let me read some of these comments.
Yeah, they got to see exclamation points. They going off.
I don't even know where to start at with the comments. I'm going to say, Fatima says, shucks, I ask hard questions upon meeting because I'm not wasting time. Boom, what I was just saying. And I want them to be themselves. I'm not judging. I'm trying to see who you are and where you're going, if we can be together or not. I agree. And Jerome replied to that and said, that's the confidence and mental aptitude someone who is an asset to a business should be like.
Yeah.
Good for you. And
and that's that's a good one, because you want to be an asset or a what is it, deficit or something to a relationship. Is it deficit?
No, it's a
asset
or why are you asking me questions, man? I told you
you're going to either add to it or
you
you want to take away from it, is what I'm trying to say, you know, to any relationship. So you want to position yourself to be an asset.
Liability.
Thank you. See, we're using the words. He used aptitude, so I'm like, okay, we're going to go there.
Let me tell you, Jerome said, I'm definitely Uncle Rome to
no.
my blood relatives and my friends' kids. Yeah, but when you Uncle Rome, that means something different around here.
Right, we talking about, you know, little Tyrone call you Uncle Rome.
Uncle Rome. But his name is Tyrone and your name is Jerome.
Right,
you know?
right.
Christina said, yeah, I learned the hard way, revealing too much of myself in the beginning. Then poetry, what I wanted, then I get stuck in. And I learned the hard way, revealing too much of myself in the beginning. Then poetry, what I wanted, then I get stuck in.
They portray what I wanted.
Portray what I wanted, then I get stuck, and then their true self is revealed after I done fell in love. Live and learn. Yeah, you know, the crazy part about falling in love is that finding love is one of the most elusive things on this planet. It's like finding Bigfoot. It's like seeing Elvis. You know what I mean? It's really hard to get love. And people act like it's twice as hard to fall out of it, but it's not. The only imperfection, well, there is no imperfection in love besides the people who partake of it. You know what I mean? And somebody's going to fall out first, and somebody probably never will. Maybe two people will fall out at the same time, but be in such a comfort zone that they don't want to go either way. Shit, the rent is this much, and this, that, the third, and yada. We got a lot of time in, and whatever, I'm just going to sit here and rock it out. Let me tell you something. You'd be surprised. A couple of questions in the beginning can kill all of that.
Yeah.
A couple of questions and your willingness to deny yourself your basic animal instinct to hop on somebody's bones because they look good. And one thing that I always learned is just because it looked good, that don't mean it's good for you.
Right.
And people can be who they are. It just might not equal up to a relationship. You know what I mean? It might not equal up to a relationship with you. Maybe the cat down the block. Maybe that dude around the corner. But not you.
Right.
Sometimes we want stuff so bad that it hurts us.
Here's the analogy I was just thinking of. We don't take our time in relationships. We jump in and like in our minds, the women already, we like, oh, he'll make a good father, or he'll make a good provider already. And like sometimes men get into that too. You know what I mean? She wifey material, blah, blah, blah. But it's like going through, to pick up your food and the food is smelling so good. And like, you want to wait till you get home to eat it. But it smells so good and it's so tempting in the car that you got to just taste it or have something in the car.
Have French fries before they get cold.
Before it get cold, because it's so enticing.
Yeah.
But we don't discipline ourselves to wait and really, so that we can savor the meal for later. We got to eat it like right then and there because it's so enticing. And that's where we get in trouble at. That's where all of our, emotions and stuff, because we jump in, we're all in too quickly into this trap. You know what I mean? Without really testing things out or seeing how people really are. Do they keep a clean house?
I call it a self-imposed trap, though.
It is.
It's not even a trap somebody set for. Let me tell you something. Somebody can say whatever they want to say to you. It's up to you to hop in bed with them. It's up to you to fuck with them like that, because if they did anything else, it'd be kidnapping and rape. So you make conscious decisions to do what it is you're doing. And the most fucked up thing that I've realized a lot of people do, they'll rationalize something out until it makes sense to them.
Definitely.
So it'll be okay for them to do it.
Because it has to make sense. It got to make sense, and then I can't be the bad guy. So you
Exactly.
literally, I can't be the bad guy in it. So I got to validate this some way in my mind to justify my actions.
But how long do they lie to themselves? Because when it's all said and done, they'll be like, I should have knew that from the beginning when he did this. No, it's not that you should have knew it.
We knew it from the beginning.
You knew it.
Right.
You just wanted what you wanted.
And that's about knowing yourself.
Man.
You got to know that you are just as jacked up as the person that you're trying to act like they jacked up. Like, one of the things I wrote down was value. What value you place on yourself and on the relationship. Like when you don't put any value on it, then it's easy to fool, someone who doesn't know the value of a diamond versus somebody who knows, can fool you with a cubic zirconia.
When you don't put value on yourself.
And
I think most people, let me tell you something. A lot of times, if I was to ask 100 people to write a bio about themselves, I bet you it would be very difficult for people to come up with 3 sentences. Because let's be real. We say a lot about ourselves, but a lot of times we don't think much about ourselves. And if you sit there and you have to write down all of your good qualities, but then you have somebody else sit next to you and write all your good attributes, guess what? Their list will be longer than yours. It'll be longer than yours.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to really think. You can say, well, I'm a good person. I look out for people. I try to help people when they down. And you can't think of too many good things about yourself, and that's crazy.
I do this with my youth. What do you like about yourself, or tell? And then I have other people in the classroom tell what do you like, or what is this person known for? And you're right, the list from others is always longer, because the youth that talk about themselves, or my students that talk about themselves, they are seeing themselves from the things they've experienced and how other people have labeled them. Exactly. So it's very hard I don't like nothing about myself. Like, I have had kids and adults have not had one thing on that paper. You can't find one thing that you like about yourself, but we look for other people and other things to validate us. There are so many broken people in high-paying jobs with all these titles, dressed in all the labels, but have no value of self if they don't have any merchandise or something else to label them.
They don't think that highly of themselves, and most people don't realize that it is definitely a form of like low self-esteem. It's a symptom of low self-esteem when you can't think of too many good things about yourself. And I'm not talking about being arrogant. I'm not talking about, giving the world your ass to kiss. I'm just literally saying, take out a piece of paper right now. Take out your iPhone, your Android, whatever, and just write a list of 15 good things about yourself. Let me know when it stops being so fluid that you have to stop and start thinking. At what number do you stop and start thinking like,
Some people can't even get to 3.
Yeah, I know, but that's why I say 15.
Yeah.
Because even people who think really highly of themselves, but if I sat here and I gave you all the good qualities that I think about you, I bet you I can get way beyond what you even thought to yourself. And you might say, yeah, that's right, I do that. But in the back of your mind, you probably still like, yeah, but that's not nothing special. Right. Guess what? You think what you think about you, but the world will always see something else.
Right.
The world will always see something else.
I was thinking about how, we look for other people to validate us, but even from the stage of a baby, like we look for that approval from our parents to clap or smile that we did a good job. Mm-hmm. And then if you are...
we look at it when we fall and bust our head to whether we should cry or not.
Exactly. And if they say, you all right, don't cry.
Yeah, don't look at them. Don't act like you didn't fall, Because then it's like, okay, I don't cry because they said it didn't hurt. So if you don't know yourself and you're always looking for that outside thing, then it transfers from your parents now to someone else in the community, whether it's your boss, your teacher to give you an A or give you a star. Like we are conditioned to look for other people's approval to give us our validity. And if you don't fix that, then you'll continue doing, I say young fools become old fools. It will always be like that until you start validating yourself. And it can't be about materialistic things. It has to be about like your personality or that you help your character. Because if you always look for outside things, when outside things are not available, you will always fall and crumble. You will always feel like you're nothing, waiting for something to accomplish so somebody can clap for you when you won't even clap for yourself. Well, the weird part is we wind up loving in cycles. We love in cycles, honestly. Think about it. A lot of times people will get out of a relationship and right back into a relationship with somebody who was much like the last person they was in a relationship with. And then they'll always say, there are no good men around. Mm-hmm. There are no good women out there. They all do the same shit. No, you keep picking the same person just in a different vessel. That's it. The same person with the same pain, with similar backstories, doing what it is that they do. Because I promise you, there's plenty of good people around. But the rapper may not be so much appealing. The weight might not be right. The height might not be right. You got what I'm saying? They might be missing a tooth. And you like, I can't do somebody that's missing a tooth. You know what I mean? Like, Lord forbid they're missing a tooth like it ain't a damn dentist in the world. You know what I mean? Let me tell you something. The honest to God truth, I oftentimes wonder, is it truly the superficial lists that we carry that hinder us from really experiencing happiness? And do we even know what we want? Do we know what we want from people? And matter of fact, fuck what you want. Do you know what you need? Because a lot of times we overlook what we need in lieu of what we want. And we don't understand that our wants is what keeps us in place. It keeps hurting us over and over again. You want this bald-headed, 6-foot, chiseled up dude, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. Right. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. But you'll take the package, not concerned about the content of what's inside. You just see it, and that's love to you. Right. That's not love. That's just physical attraction. Yeah. Let me tell you something. I'd rather, like me personally, when it comes down to body types, this, that, the third, yada, 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 a lot of that stuff I don't necessarily care about. I honestly don't necessarily care about. What we truly need to realize is that it's what's inside of people, and you hear it being said all the time. But you don't never realize it until you get, I guess, old enough where you just can't go pick up some coochie, or you can't go get, when you notice as a female, people ain't buying you free drinks at the bar like they used to. Right. Or, you're not getting that same flow of energy when you walk into a room. Then all of a sudden we sit down and we start thinking, like, damn. you know what? I need to get somebody that's really good for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So is it once our beauty fades? Is it once, you know, we don't get as hard as we used to? Is it once, you know, you realize you don't want to die alone, that you decide to open up what you perceived as what you wanted and switch it over to what you need?
Yeah.
So is somebody supposed to accept you at the end of all of that? Like, it could have been somebody on your heels forever, probably somebody doing really good right now, living life and all, and then you try to be in their inbox,
right?
You know?
Yeah, and that's how it is. Like, you look at how people are from high school to now and everything. You know,
got some stories about
that's a whole nother conversation. But I was thinking about the same thing. Like, my girlfriend told me one time, we were just having a conversation, and she was like, you shouldn't be checking for the cute ones. Like, everybody gonna be going after them. You know what I mean? Listen, it's a women's thing. Everybody goes after the cute ones. Everybody wants that package. Like,
So
don't overlook the ones that don't fit the picture. You know what I mean? That don't fit like like they're not the Idris Elbas or whatever, or you know, the Morris Chestnuts and stuff like that. Everybody's going to run for them. So now they have all these options because everybody gunning for them. You know what I'm saying? But you overlook the nice guy who will give you the world, who doesn't fit the package or the image of someone else. And then another thing is, you want the perfect package, but are you the perfect package somebody else looking for?
Let me tell you something.
Listen, I
done heard people ask for shit. I done seen people put shit out there. Oh, well, if you're going to come to me, you need to this, that, that. And I'm looking at you like a bag of mango pulp. I mean, come on.
Mango
like,
pulp?
just because, and I'm not saying that you don't deserve to have whatever it is that you want in this lifetime, but you'll cut off everything for an image, but then you may not be that image that everything wants.
Yeah.
You got what I'm saying?
Because everybody has different likes and stuff like that. Like, I always had one type, but I'm trying to tell you, I tell my students all the time, I ain't looking for none of that no more. If it happens, it happens. But I put all of that in a type, and that type got me the same consistent behavior. I have not ran into anyone of that type that gave me different behavior. It was just the same spirit in a different bodysuit.
Well, the sad part is, like, when I was younger, I had like low self-esteem. I thought I was a ugly guy. You know what I mean? Like, I have all these brothers, and my brothers can just smile at somebody and get a woman. And, you know, I always felt like I had to fight a little harder, or, you know, maybe I was too nice. I don't know what the hell it was, but I had like low self-esteem, thinking that nobody really wanted me like that. But when I was in middle school and when I was in high school, what I found is that a lot of times, like, I was often people's side piece. I was always their little secret or whatever. And I found myself being okay with that, because I accepted in my mind at that point in time that I wasn't that attractive. And I was just happy that, hey, they're paying attention to me. But as I got older and I look back and I really analyzed all of that, what it was I was the inside that they wanted, and that was the outside that they wanted.
Right.
So if they could have just smushed it all together, they would have been happy.
And that's what we always say when we talk to our friends behind the thing. If we can just put the good parts in this person, that person, and make that be the perfect person. I want to go to this one part I had in I love our spoken word piece.
That's, like, I'm in it. That's why.
No, I love our spoken word piece. For this one part, every time I get to this one part, like, everybody just totally feels it, and we don't have the soundtrack in the background for you guys to have heard the whole thing and how it flows. But this one part says, "For attention, I did anything. For love, I did everything. But for my self-respect and growth, I did nothing. I chose to put all my energy and attention, my tenacity, my wits, my creativity into somebody loving me and for the attention of people. But when it came to building me up or for my self-respect and my growth, I literally did nothing." And that is the story of so many, and I'm going to speak for women, so many women. I'm going to say women because I don't know all male stories.
Well, I would say that is for males as well. You know, the only difference is, I always say, and it's my honest to God belief, that women, they just don't know who they are. Let me tell you something. If you knew who you were, for any woman that's watching, and I don't mean to say women, it's such a generalization, but I'm going to say I do think a lot of women don't know who they are. Let me tell you something. Men have fought wars. Men have fought wars. People have died for the love of a woman. Women have such strength and power. They can be so reserved. They can be more cunning and conniving than any dude, I promise you, and way more patient. Way more patient.
Women are more patient.
But,
That's the part I heard.
Yeah, women are
Not the
way
conniving
more patient than what men are. You got what I'm saying? More. They calculate better. They are more together. You got what I'm saying? Like, women are everything, and without women, there would be no men. And let me tell you how I'm going to tell you, women are the superior race. And not the superior race, but the superior gender. And I say they're the superior gender because look at this. Your chromosomes, XX. My chromosomes, XY. So what does that mean? It takes part of you to make me. Every single time. Every single time. It takes you to make me. You know, but you can't make me alone.
Right.
You need me to make me. You got what I'm saying? It's such a symbiotic relationship, but to say that there's a little bit of woman in every man. It's a little bit of woman in every man. And I oftentimes say that, and even when you break down, I ain't trying to go all the way down this road, but when you break down the clit and all of that jazz and the penis and
they're all the same parts.
It's all the same parts, honestly. So just like I said, at the end of the day, women are way more powerful than they get themselves credit for. And I think if all women woke up at once, this whole society would look so different.
Yeah.
It would look so freaking different.
You can really tell the difference, even if like a woman that has a certain build, right?
Yeah.
Next to someone who has the confidence about herself, no matter what build she has.
Yeah.
Like the woman with the confidence, the woman with the body may stick out, but soon she opens her mouth, or soon you need, like, she not running, you know, you're not going to give her the passwords to your bank account.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not, she look good, but you know, you want somebody of substance. And I tell people we always talk about getting to know yourself, really getting to know yourself and loving yourself, finding what works for you. A woman that doesn't have all of the, you know, the top and the bottom and got like a zero waist and all that stuff. A woman.
I don't even know what that is, man. Let me tell you something. My whole scheme is, if I lay on top of you, will you break? If you break, I don't need
What is it,
that.
36, 24, 36, whatever
What a
that
winning
brick
tell.
house
She's
song.
a brick.
Right, but that song, come on, everybody seems to want that image, but at the same time, you can have someone who was not born with those attributes, but have confidence about herself and walk in the room and shut it down every time. Shut it down every time, and you wonder why people gravitate to her and her confidence and everything, where you got somebody who has the body, you know what I mean, and wonder, like, why ain't nobody trying to really holler at me, or they still pull them, you know what I'm saying, but at the same time is, who's going to last the longest? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm going to tell you like this. I mean, it's all good and fine. Like, to me personally, if I come from my perspective, and I'm going to call my perspective most males' perspective, eye candy is good. It's, you know, you got this person, they're all put together, but they don't have the insides. It's good. It's good for you to say, oh, I did that. It's good to walk around and have it seen or whatever. But let me tell you something. To have a real woman, just to have a real woman, and I call a real woman, no matter what she looks like, the substance of a real woman. The woman who knows who she is. The woman who understands her strength and power. Let me tell you something. A man will be put in check over that. A man recognizes that. A man recognizes that immediately. Like, you know who you can play with, you know who you can't play with.
Right.
You know who you can count on, who you can depend on. You know who gonna make moves for you. Let me tell you something. If you want something done, I was just having this conversation.
Yeah.
If you want something done, you go to a woman. A woman
with
of substance.
right?
And let me tell you something. She will not only have the beginning, the end, she will have everything figured out from top and bottom. And let me tell you something. She'll do this all without even so much as a thank you. Especially if she believes in you. Let me say, they say when you find a woman, you find a good thing. When a man finds a woman, he finds a good thing. Let me tell you something. It is so beautiful to find a woman who knows who she is and carries herself that way, despite what her backstory is, despite the things that she went through. When a woman knows who she is and she walks within her purpose, let me tell you something. There is nothing greater than that.
Right.
Nothing.
This world is so imagery right now, though. Everything is about image. Even on like social media, like we were talking about this before, in music or anything, you have to have the image first before they even look at your talent. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's what we're fed, and that's what people who look for superficial things, that's what they want. They want to live that imagery. They want to live that life. They want the trophy person. Not saying that you can't have a trophy looking body and still have substance. That's not what we're saying. You can have both. But a lot of people, the majority are not built like that. You built like your mama. You built like your Uncle Bessie. You're right. You know what I mean? I got my daddy back. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Even looking in relationships and how people pick people and move forward in their relationships and all, it might as well be like the porn industry. You got a big dick? Come on in. You got big boobs? You got a nice ass? Come on in.
Category for everybody.
Yeah. That's how you categorize people. It doesn't matter what they think. Are they socially conscious? Are they even polite? Are they even good people?
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter.
It does not.
Check these boxes.
And you can buy anything these days. You can buy anything these days. But, after a while, you living your best life now, but, after a while, that stuff starts.
It get tired. Let me tell you something. Sex, you show me a fine-ass woman, I'll show you a dude that's tired of fucking with her. You show me a handsome motherfucking dude, I'll show you a woman that's tired of putting up with him. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you. Like when it's all said and done, don't let the best days of your life pass you the frack by, like I haven't been cussing all night. Don't let the best moments of your life pass you by before you decide, let me get what it is I need in my life. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't turn around and regret every decision that you made in life, or maybe not every. Some people say, oh, well, everything is a learning experience. Yes. Everything is a learning experience, but every lesson ain't got to be so damn hard. It just don't. Yeah. We put ourselves in them spaces all the time. We need to get back to learning about ourselves. If you can learn about yourself, if you can learn about who you are, I'm telling you, you can navigate this world so much better. And when you walk into somebody's life, explain to them, when you having conversation on that first date, let them know you know who you are. But what I want you to do is explain to them how you did that. Inspire them to do the same thing for themselves. Because although they may not be good for you, something you put in their mind can plant a seed.
That's the asset again. Yes. Even as a friend, you can be an asset even as a friend.
Nobody want no damn friends. Let me read some of these comments. Let me see.
You gotta find them because you gotta scroll all the way back up. They was talking.
I gotta go all the way up.
Right. I wanted to say while you're looking
from here.
All right, go ahead.
What was you gonna say?
No one else can live your life for you. So we have to stop feeding into this facade of what life should be. So if no one else can live your life for you, stop letting other people and false things define your life. Like knowing you is you taking the power to define what you want in your life, and then you make the rules of that, and don't go by what society says, because they're going to sell you. It's like a product they're selling you. They're selling you something to feed into, and then you have to get the benefits or consequence of it. But if you keep getting the consequences of it, you have the power to change that. I don't want this no more. I'm done. You know what I mean? It's not what I want. This is what I want. So I need to create the environment I can thrive in.
This is why I wanted to start reading.
I'm done. Go ahead.
People still adding. So,
they stopped talking to us. They started talking to each other.
That's because we ain't talking to them. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on.
They started
so I'm gonna start from Paige, because I don't even know where to start from. Paige said, I'm all about that spark, that fire, that passion about something in life. You can't have dull eyes and no dreams. That's not even eye candy. I don't want to look into a man's eyes and see no signs of life. That's not sexy to me. Jerome said, eyes tell more than most realize. They say the eyes are the window to your soul. And if your eyes are the windows to your soul, then I want to be your peeping Tom.
Oh my goodness.
Let me see. Fatima said, she was responding to Christina. She is me. I will cherish and eagerly submit to a man of purpose and also submits to caring and covering me. Damn. You get a bell, Fatima, just because you use the word submit. I love that word.
Oh, moving on.
I'm
Good
just
job,
moving on.
Fatima.
I'm just gonna leave that where it's at. Moving on. Jerome said, image and position in life has always been portrayed as what primarily attracts. Otherwise, fashion would never have been a thing. I agree. And so does Paige, apparently. Jerome said, eyes are the gateway to the soul and tell emotions, truth, lies, and inspiration. Fatima said, it matters to me. I went out with a Department of Deaf employee. That's right.
Defense, I guess. Department of Defense.
Okay.
Maybe.
Oh, Department of Defense. Man, I'm
why
slow
you need
today,
me.
Fatima. I'm slow, I promise you. I went out with a Department of Defense employee living well in his single home, driving a plug-up car. But while on a date, he mentioned who he voted for and then asked me if I wanted to know why. Well, since you asked,
That was it.
then tell
Wonder
me.
how that date went.
He stated because of his high income, he didn't want to be taxed. I knew then he wasn't for me. He wasn't consciously aware enough or considerate enough to realize that he could afford to be taxed and those taxes would be helping the less fortunate. Well, you know what? I get it. I totally get. Thank you. Thank you.
I got you, Fatima. I had to help him out.
Yeah, well, she did. Yo, let me tell you something. So tonight is one of my little off nights. You know what I mean? So I've been jacking up a lot, and I've been noticing that. But I hate using that as a crutch, so I'm just going to keep it moving. I wanted to tell you to find a piece of poetry to share. And also, I wanted you to say something about your books in about a second. So if you could find a piece of poetry that I'm sure you have.
I will, but let me.
Paige said, so true.
See how
You're
you
supposed to
tell
be
me,
finding poetry.
my stuff is
so
right here.
you're supposed to be finding
But
poetry.
Fatima's
So true. You're
comments.
supposed to be finding. I just read Fatima.
I wanted to respond to her real quick
Oh, go ahead,
about
respond.
the people. This is again, is what's your buy-in. Ads promote. They advertise. People who have products advertise to a certain market. You know what I'm saying? Like the babies and the moms, they know what to say to get that market. And because the society that we live in now is so much about imagery and making money and not being taxed, people will sell their soul.
Yeah,
you
to
know
the
what I'm
devil
saying, to
in a
get that.
heartbeat.
But again, I'm glad you know what you want. But this person said, "This is what I want. This is my mindset." So you made that decision. This is not for me.
All day.
That's all I'm saying.
Now find that poetry. Anyway, Paige said, so true. Sometimes even your own friends don't see your logic or understand why you do what you do. They don't have to understand everything. Sure, consult them. Talk things through, but in the end, don't be afraid to live your life. And that's the honest to God truth. Let me tell you something. Relationships, we learn relationships from living life. We learn relationships from our parents. They're the first relationships we see of man and woman. Whether your mother is single or your father is single and they're dating other people, we see how they interact with the people that they love, how they interact with their significant others. Then we grow up and we start having our own relationships. We see TV and Hollywood and how they portray things to be. You know, we constantly get bombarded with what relationships are supposed to look like, and then we aspire to have those things. But you know what's funny? Every single kind of relationship isn't necessarily represented in the things that you see in life. Honest to God truth. Who you are inside, it may not even be relative to Hollywood. It may not be relative to the people in your life. No one has to. The only person that got to wake up with the choices that you make in life is you. And the honest to God truth is, if you can't be happy with who you are, if you can't be happy in your own skin, if you can't be happy embracing life the way that you see it, then what's the fucking point of living? We can't always be worried about what people are going to say because you chose who you chose. What people are going to say because you did what you did. I think people turn down relationships thinking about what society is going to think about who they're with. If they show up to the market with this person, you know what I mean?
Or the family barbecue.
The family barbecue or whatnot. Because people, let me tell you something. People are always in judgment, but they don't never want to be judged. People want to talk about what you do, but guess what? They don't never want you to say shit about what they doing. And the same person that gives you advice, they will fail to take their own advice over the same fucking issues. And you know why? Because people only think about themselves. They think about themselves, and in a moment, they'll give you advice based off of what they don't want done to them. And then it's done to them, and guess what they doing? They waiting.
Different. Yeah.
They waiting around. They like, oh man, you should have been out of there. They waiting around. So what you waiting on? You told me to leave, but you still there. So I challenge you, for all the advice that your friends give you, turn around and give them the same advice when they're in the same situation. And understand that you take advice from a bunch of broken people.
Yeah.
A bunch of broken people who don't even know who they are, who probably ain't even living the life that they want to live. They're probably just living the life that's acceptable to the people who they stand in judgment of and who they judge.
Yeah.
Who
Living a
gets
life
judged.
that's acceptable to
something like
others.
that.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, there's no two people's lives that are identical. It's like fingerprints. Like we go through we have similarities, but there's no two people who live the exact same life to get the same exact results. You can pick and choose and pull things from people's lives that can assist you. I always say chew the meat and spit out the bones. Like you got to be able to know what's good advice for you in that moment. You know what I mean? To your particular situation, because what worked for somebody else, it may not work for you because you have other contributing factors or lack of resources or something else. So everybody's blueprint is not the same blueprint for your life. But some things like success, some tools and stuff like that, they have been proven, but it's not the exact blueprint for your life. So you really have to decide what's best for you. And I always talk about trauma and, knowing what's underneath. We've all been through things, but it's how you have experienced them, how you reacted to them, and how you have been, how you got free from them in your mind, because you will always live. And this is how I'm telling you from my experience. I lived from a traumatic lens. Like everything in my life, I was seeing through a traumatic lens and reacting to that.
And most people are reactionary. Most people, that's just how, I think that's how most people operate. That's how we learn to operate. Something happens, then you do something.
Right.
Somebody says something, so you say something back. That's how you ever get into a stupid argument with somebody, and after a while, it's just like they just responded.
Right. You don't even what do we start arguing for
anymore. You just
right.
saying shit.
But I'm saying making decisions over based off of my perceptions, like wearing glasses, and I need glasses for because of my lack of vision. But somebody who sees perfectly, like, no, it's blue, and I got these crazy glasses on. I'm like, no, it's red with polka dots and everything else. So I make what I see or what I experience more colorized because of the trauma I've been through. So I react to that from a trauma perspective, and that creates another story or life that now I live in, and then everything's all messed up. But when you get yourself free from that and really get to know yourself without all of the trauma, without all of the bad relationships, without all of the stuff, and really decide who you are, know your identity and what you really want, not what somebody force-fed you, not what you thought you should have, but what you really want and desire. And my desire may be different from yours. I don't need the big house. I don't need the thousands of cars and all the other stuff. At the end of the day, you want to be loved unconditionally.
all day.
You
man.
want somebody who's going to be there no matter you got your wig on, you got straight
I
backs,
wanna
you
be
got your
loved
glasses
unconditionally
on.
with the poem that I asked you to find because I'm looking at the time.
I did not cut you off with
I know you
yours.
didn't, but I gotta cut you.
So Mike knows he writes more than I do, and I don't have. I have Achilles Heel. That's all I have, and I have recordings. I don't have
read,
anything written.
Achilles Heel, please. and
Want me to
thank
read
you.
Achilles Heel?
If it makes you feel any better, I'll read my poem from last week. Thank you.
I don't need you to make me feel better. I already feel
I'm
better.
gonna make you feel
That's what
better
we're
while
talking
you're
about.
talking. So, I am not a bus depot. You cannot occupy my space in transition to somewhere you think may be better. Scratching poetry defined by misery into the walls of my soul, expecting me to receive them as love letters. I am not into being your alternate option when the world does not spin in your direction. You cannot come to me sharing the air I breathe while simultaneously siphoning off my affection, feeding an addiction designed to bring reciprocity to your painful existence you so desperately yearn to free yourself from ward. I am more than what your subconscious gives me credit for. Words whispered gently ravage every fiber of my being, yet heard in the eye of this storm. No one wants to be alone, but it does not give you right to rent my heart temporarily as your home until you fix your credit, save up some money, and secure a loan for what you really desire. You don't get to light a match and set fire to my hopes and dreams, then expect to be a friend to me, keeping me close in case he does not treat you like a queen when I already do. My love, you may not be accustomed to, but at a point, love transcends me and you. It's never what we say, it's more about what we do. The two should never be confused. So when you choose to say, I love you, I beg you to understand the difference. Have the courage, conviction, and confidence to be honest with me. Understand there is no security in knowing everything. There is only sorrow. You can plan for a better place for tomorrow and be disappointed upon arrival, gaining the knowledge that yesterday held the keys for your survival, and tomorrow presented you with nothing but pain. A queen in an empty castle with no subject to reign. How deceptively empty tomorrow could be. But as for me, I know who I am and what I bring to the table. I will not sit quietly and allow you to disable me consciously while I enable you. Every once in a while, I have to admit what they say about grass being greener may be true. But I've come to the realization that the saying is also for me after we are through. I don't like the last line of that. It's a little like, I got to work on that. Please, ladies and gentlemen, Diamond.
So this one's called Achilles Heel. I was dipping and dabbing, puffing and passing, losing myself quickly. And before I knew it, I found myself in between the sheets or maybe on the floor. It didn't matter to him as long as he didn't have far to walk to the door. Because at 2 a.m. while I was reminiscing and yawning, my man's cell phone was chirping and alarming. A puff here, a quick lay there. Expecting a phone call the next day just wouldn't be fair. Like two peas in a pod, baby girl, that's just a facade. Me and you against the world, our fantasies of a little girl. The painful years and the unshed tears kept me from moving on, kept me from reaching my destiny. No, my sisters, not other men or bad memories. You see, the thing that was destroying me was me. I embraced hurt with open arms. I stood toe to toe with mental anguish. I accepted his imperfections because I wasn't dealing with my own. The first hello sparked the match. The second booty call lit the wick. At any given time, I could have diffused this method of self-destruction. See, I chose this because of a simple malfunction, a cognitive defect with a detrimental affect. I chose to stay unhappy while making everyone else's happiness my priority. But they never chose me. Choked up, cut up, molested, and even raped. Yet I still forgave. By opening my mouth and parting my legs, I was exposing to him my imperfections, fears, and hangups. I was playing Russian roulette. I loaded the gun. I knew exactly which chamber I put the bullet in, but I barely survived the shot that should have killed me. See, he could have never defeated me without me telling him the exact location of my Achilles heel.
Bing, 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 bing. Now, if you would be so kind as to talk about some of the books over there real quick. I'm gonna give you like 5 minutes to do
I
that.
don't like how you be direct.
And I'm gonna sit over here. Hey, that's
You
what I
want me
do.
to sit over there and be quiet?
I direct. I'm a conductor.
You gonna sit-
I will never do that.
I am not on no
This
train.
is Open Mike's Cafe Live.
We need to close
This
Mike's
is not
mic.
diamond in the rough.
No, I appreciate Mike for having me on. I appreciate our friendship. And we still don't know how we became friends.
Not
I'm
at
still,
all. I still
I'm
don't
the
know
file
how
restraining order.
we became
You know,
friends.
we just be writing poetry, and you know, I just appreciate our friendship. And
First off, let me see. I'm sorry. So, okay. So
am I?
this is I could spread these out like cards. That's like I could say pick a card. These are all her books. This is what I want to say. There's a lot of books. Okay.
These are some of my books.
Some of excuse
I
me.
have books and magazines, and these are the ones that I publish of myself. And then I have other books that are compilation books and books that I published for other people who wanted to write their poetry books or other stuff. So this is my latest one, my last one, my baby. This one was a real breakthrough for me. It's called More Than Enough, and
You gotta hold it up a little higher.
it's called More Than Enough, and it actually, I wrote it for my teens. I teach in a community. I teach around the world also, but I wrote this for my teens so that they can have a book specifically for them, and not have to, you know, go through adult stuff or everything else. And I talk about those books, but this was truly a breakthrough for me. I talk about trauma and really getting to know yourself, really getting to know who you are so that you can really live your best life and just not be a cliche, but knowing that you are more than enough. And that you deserve to not only dream, but live out your wildest dreams. But it's going to take you doing the work for you.
Boom.
Like, it's work that you have to put in. So there's so many key nuggets in here. And I wrote this for my teens, but the parents, they literally on the back of the book, I quoted one of the parents, although this book was intended for teens, us adults need to hear this message too. My parents would not leave my classrooms. They stayed in the back. They volunteered just to hear, you know, the nuggets for that I was teaching their young ladies for themselves. Because, you know, I say young fools become old fools, but there's so many grown women, little girls still trapped in grown women's bodies.
Oh, yeah, all
with
day.
the, you know, still have that little girl mindset. And I actually wrote in here, like, I wrote this to myself. I wrote one part of the dedication to my girls, my young girls, but also to me, that I will never, ever, ever abandon me again. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, you know, I found... I just love it so much. It's like I found our voice and promised to never have it silenced again. We have always been more than enough. And when you realize that you've always been more than enough, then you won't look for that outside validation from work or, you know, any materialistic thing, but not other people, whether it's men or your family. So it's not just about, you know, relationship between man and woman, but how we look for certain validation in the wrong places. So this is the first one. This is my baby. This is the only book I thought I was ever going to write, and it's called Girlfriend, Let's Talk About It. And it really talks about like all the drama. So if you ever wanted to know my business, I put it out there first. Say all the bad relationships, everything I did. When I said for love, I did anything. You want to say
For my self-respect and growth.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the other part. For love, I did anything. For attention, I did anything. For love, I did everything. That's in this book.
Self-respect.
Yeah.
That's part of the story.
Yeah,
So
but
we
it's
gotta
like
tell
I did anything and I did everything.
Yeah.
So this is the real life. You know, can't nobody tell your business like you. Yeah. So I put my business out there to be relatable to other people, so that we can connect and know that we've been through some things. And I have a lot of titles that other people give me, and it always astounds me that other people, you know, give me these titles.
Yeah.
But I'm just Diamond. I'm me, and I'm real, and I speak real. I teach real.
Can
so
you
don't
tell them about Radical Publications?
So Radical Publications was the publication company I started, self-published my own books, and then other people wanted me to help them publish their books also. So if you have a book that you have in you, so I help you take your thoughts to print. If you just have a thought of it, I want to write a book, I don't know where to start, I teach you the whole blueprint of how to do that, take you from A to Z to take your thoughts to print. So you can just connect with me, and we do all types of books. We about to launch a cookbook, but we also have spoken word books. We have poetry books. We have fiction, nonfiction. We have magazines. So I do it all. If you need help and you're willing to put in the work, that means you physically putting in the work and you financially put in the work. I don't rob people, but you got to pay for what you want. because you're going to end up charging people for those books. So you can't give me $1 and charge $5.
So where do they find you at?
You can find me right now on social media or email me at sherelle.hogans@gmail.com.
Can you spell that first name?
He really wants to be a conductor today.
No, I'm
so
just telling you
I
because
got
these
you.
are all things
I
I
appreciate
know.
you. SHIRELLE.HOGANS@gmail.com. And I'll
Paige
put
said,
it
"Can you
in
drop
the.
a link in the comments?"
I sure will. And when Mike gives me a moment and stops conducting me, I will put my information in the comments.
You're very good. You're very good to follow an instruction today.
And this
I
one, this is the
appreciate
last
that.
one I want to show you right now. So I'm going to show you, well, not the last one, but we talk about different traumas and stuff. So we have Twisted Pleasures. It's a compilation book about domestic violence and survivors of that and how they not only survive but are thriving in life, but they teach you the mindset of it. Now, people say I'm not into domestic violence. That's not my story, but guaranteed the statistics say that you know somebody who has, who has been through something about domestic violence, sexual assault. We call it breached. And if not for you, but understand the mindset of your friends, how to be able to really empower and help your friends get through what they're getting through. So we thank you so very much.
Thank you, Fatima.
Thank you, Fatima. But you know somebody, so you don't want to alienate them, but get into the mindset of people who have actually been through trauma, what they're thinking. Don't say you stupid, you too smart for that. There's a reason why they are in it. It may not make sense to you, but let me tell you, it makes perfect sense to them. We talked
All
about
day.
validating our feelings and justifying our actions. You will do that. You will do that and fight for your own sanity in those things.
That will be them 5 minutes. And when I'm going to have her back again
He
next
always
week.
kicking me
So
off.
you can bring the other books
See?
that you didn't get to talk about, because once again, we have a topic. And I know, let me tell y'all something.
I can talk.
Number one, I want to tell y'all that she talked more than me. I'm just going to put that out
Rewind
there.
the tape.
Number two.
I get 2 seconds.
Because I gotta cut you. Number two, Sherelle does a lot of things. She does a whole lot of things. So anybody out there that's aspiring, I mean, she shot a film. She did Lyrical Legends, which was like poetry on film. Let me tell you, anything, she makes commercials and stuff. You know what I mean? She does a whole lot of things, and I would love to sit here and tell y'all everything in life that this woman has ever done, but it would take up the whole show. It literally would. It literally would. She's a registered nurse. Congratulations.
Yes.
She teaches classes. She does literally everything. So now I'm getting off you and back on our topic. So if you want to get in touch with her, the Gmail is out there. It's down in the comments. Once again, thank you, Fatima. Fatima was on top of it. Like I said, if you want something done, you got to go to a woman, man. That's the way it go. Not that I won't work hard for you, but you're probably better off going to a woman. 'Cause I'm just saying. But, the important thing that we're trying to lay down tonight, and the reason we did the poem, and honestly, I almost wanted to do the poem over again because your sound wasn't right.
I was hoping
and
you
I
would say
don't
that.
know if everybody had heard the poem. Can y'all let me know in the comments if y'all heard the poem that she and I did together to start the show off? And if y'all did not, we would like to do it again if everybody didn't hear it, because it's really important to what we're talking about. A lot of times we got to recognize our own damage. We got to recognize where we're at in life. We got to recognize why we are doing what we are doing. We got to understand why sometimes we even sabotage the stuff that's good to us. You know what I mean? And just yesterday, on Word Up with Uncle P, we was just talking about, can pain be your comfort zone? And sometimes you can get so comfortable in the pain that you've been living in for so long that when something good comes along and it's too good, you literally become afraid and then do things to fight it or deflect it or to try to stop it from being like what it is. Like it's too good. Some people honestly feel like they don't deserve it. But you can pull it up. We're gonna do it again.
A lot of people don't know how to thrive or breathe in a healthy environment because
Yeah.
they've learned how to breathe in a toxic environment for so long. So having
Yeah.
good air or natural air, this
Hurt
ain't
them
something
lungs,
right.
man. Hurt them lungs.
It'll hurt
It
your
almost
lungs,
creates
yeah.
a panic in a way. If you could pull that poem up, because
I
we're
have
gonna
it.
do
I
it
have
again.
it right here.
All right, I'm on your heels. That's all. You know, that's
you
why
have
I
the
said
first
just
part.
open mics, cafe live. You know,
They try to put me in
see
my
how
place.
it's like with Michael Storm Miller and Diamond.
I need you to know that it's the
Here we go.
and diamond there because you be all about Mike.
me. Okay, so
I want to sit here and clown this poem so
There you
bad,
go.
but I'm gonna be nice.
I'm pushing your moaning.
I'm scratching your groaning.
We climax. Before my pulse rate declines, my phone rings. I already know it's my bull on the line. I've told him to call so I could tell you a lie. You asked me to stay, yet I quickly decline. I can't share your pillow with you. And in your eyes, I see disappointment, but you don't understand. I can't allow myself to feel what you've given me is so honest yet real. At first, it was only sex appeal, but now I find myself confused. You see, I can't express love. Stuck in a man's body, I'm still only a child in tune with the streets and the call of the wild. I've never learned to love, and so I run away. Don't want nobody else to have you, but yet still I'm too abused to stay. You see, my real father was the same way, and I resented him for that. And so I guess maybe in reality I hate myself.
I lay silently crying and really dying as you fill me with your venom of insecurities and multiple personalities. As our limbs intertwined, your soul jumped onto mine, but had to take a number because the list of men that hurt me was a long line. As my creative mind was moving at lightning speed, I knew I had to be quick to anticipate your every need. In a way, I had hoped that this would be the performance that made you stay. I wanted to be your soulstress, your temptress, for you to dare to take a chance to get to know me. As I lay here pretending to be tired, my tears I hold back so you won't think that I'm wired. I just put my best thing down, and in 3 minutes, my brother, you won't even be around.
But what else can I do? You see, I'm just one man who has been hurt too. Under construction, I find myself self-destructing, and baby, I just don't want to take you. You have given me so much without ever asking for one thing in return, and although you're always in my corner, I still have not learned to share your pillow, and I know it hurts you, but guess what? Baby, I'm hurting too. How can I make love to you when the only thing I've ever known is how to screw? I walk through this pain to hide my tears. I reach for my keys, and you just lay there.
Already a distant memory. I added you to my mental Rolodex under quick to retreat. I let you toss me around. It wasn't you but me that took off my crown. Not knowing that I was created to be the queen, I accepted that I was just an emotional being. I pulled out all the stops to set the scene. Candlelight, a little play fight, and at the end result is I'm the only one holding my pillow tonight. I put all I had into making your fantasies come true, not once thinking about how I wanted to be wooed. As the harsh reality entered my mind, my body started shaking. But you weren't paying attention to my tears. You thought it was a reaction from your love making. For attention, I did anything. For love, I did everything. For my self-respect and growth, I did nothing. With every breath, I wanted to scream, please don't leave.
But you gave me this blank stare, and then you asked me, will I call? I closed your door deep down inside. I knew that made you feel like a horror. I stood on your front steps, wouldn't have rushed back to tell you how much I adored you. How I get scared when your body trembles when you call out for me, and baby, maybe that's just why I ignore you. How when I'm alone, I drop to my knees and I shed tears for you. You see, I can't share your pillow. Maybe I should just leave you alone. I see the hurt in your eyes when other women keep on ringing my phone. But you see, I can't help myself. My problems and pain run too deep. I'm too proud to ask for help. You see, you're the best thing that has ever happened to me, but what I don't tell you, I guess you'll never know. And although I love you more than I love myself sometimes, baby, I just can't share your pillow.
My purpose was tied to the bottom of your shoes. While you were here, my life had meaning. I felt the demons circling around, ready to pounce in my mind as you tied your Timbs and descended the stairs 2 at a time. The tears began cascading and my voice became shallow. I didn't have the courage to plead for you to hold me and not leave. To continue our random escapades, I had to appear non-clinging. I told you that I was just an emotional being. So I swallowed my tears and checked my pride. I silently answered an unspoken goodbye. I often wonder why I allowed you to caress me like a weeping willow. I bared my soul, I cried out, please don't go, and still you couldn't share my pillow.
Thank you. See, I wasn't gonna say it. I wasn't gonna say
You
it.
know what? Whatever. We got
Let
it
me
on
tell
tape.
you,
You can find
you
this. You can
said-
find this track
Well, I got the
on
CDs.
2 of his CDs.
Yeah, I got
So
the
you'll
CDs.
hear what he
I got
said.
CDs for sale. CDs for sale. CDs. But what I wanted to tell everybody, man, every time I listen to this, I'm a word person, so words matter to me. Like I literally, it as many times have I heard this poem and have done this poem, like I got a whole picture of what it looks like in my head, and I got a picture of what it looks like in my head because I've lived it. I've lived it, and so the odd part becomes like I capture. You know how sometimes you say it, and I'll be saying some of it with you.
Yeah, I do yours too.
Because you'll turn around and say something like, to continue our escapades, I couldn't appear clingy.
Yeah.
And it's hurtful.
Our random escapades.
It's hurtful. Yeah, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's hurtful because just to know that, man,
People will play the role to keep what they want.
just to keep you
Yeah.
coming back, they just
Cause soon as
give
I act
you
like I'm
what you
clinging
need.
on to you, then you're gonna be like, oh, she ain't caught it. She all up on me. I can't. So we gotta appear non-clinging. We can't even share. Like I can't even share anything with you. You know what I mean?
It's so
We gotta play the part.
many parts. It's so many parts you gotta think. I mean, even when I said that, I walked out, I stood on your.
This is
I
such an
closed the
emotional
door,
poem for us.
yeah, and it's like, I stood out there and I knew that made you feel like a whore, like just getting up and leaving. It's almost like you should have just left money on a nightstand.
Yeah.
And you standing out, like I can't express how many times, I've sat in a car knowing that somebody really cared about me, but I was too fucked up or too selfish or whatever to care back, or even too damaged to give them what it was that they needed. And so in reality, I just went outside. I may have sat in the car and started it up. I'm getting ready to pull off. And for 2 seconds, you feel that pain.
Right.
You feel that pain, but you pull off. Like, I can't go back, because if I go back,
How's that gonna make you
that
look?
mean,
Right.
that mean I care about you.
Right.
If I step back across that threshold, then that means I care. If I stay the night and I hold
the
you,
whole night.
then you may want me to stay another night and hold you.
Yes.
And then where would that leave me?
Right.
You got what I'm saying?
Right.
So we spend a whole lot of time running away from ourselves. We spend a lot of times running away from what we feel, hiding what we feel. Sometimes literally we are like emotional vampires. We stick our teeth into people, and I mean male and female. We will sink our teeth in and we suck so deeply and very gluttonous, and we will allow that feeding to run down our cheeks and chin, until we got what we need. And now we can stand up straight for a little while.
Right.
Now we could walk a little bit farther.
Right.
You got what I'm saying? And it's so unfair, and it's so not right. And it's so not right that so many people, they deal with that. They don't appear clingy. They don't
Right.
appear like they want any more than what you're given. And it's just,
We don't appear that way. We don't say it, but we do it. Cause like just reading this, and the way me and Mike came up with this, it was just like let's do this poem, and you write your part and I write my part, and it was supposed to just flow, and then we just took different pieces out, and it literally just meshed together.
Yeah, like
and
crazy.
When I wrote, and we didn't change really anything.
nah, we didn't. All we did was like match.
Like,
It's so weird because we
weird.
went away separately
For a
and
couple of
wrote
days,
about.
yeah.
We talked about what the concept was, and then we wrote it. And when we came together, man, it came together so fluid. But it shows that for every situation, man, we share a whole lot of pain. You don't have to share in a situation with somebody to understand what that pain feels like,
Right.
because you've had your own pain that was very close to the pain they felt.
And then it, like my part of women will use their body to show you, you know what I mean, to try to please you. Like, you know, I want it to be your soul, just your temptress, for you to dare to take a chance to get to know me. Like, how do you get to know me but by my sexual antics?
And
like,
that's
I'm,
how they will know you.
that's how I
That's how
portray
they will-
myself.
yup.
That's how they will know
That's
me.
what they'll know you by.
And that's what they'll come
They'll
for.
be like, oh, yo, you know that diamond?
Okay, this is the whole.
No, I'm just
I
saying.
get you. I get you.
Yeah, that's how it is.
But
It's
that's
like,
right.
man, but you
And
know
you-
what? People are so much more valuable. You're way more valuable than how good you can fuck, how good you can suck. You're just way more valuable than that. You know what I mean? And it always seems like it's not until people, once again, people start getting older, life starts slowing them down till they start realizing what are the important things in their life. But imagine how much fuller life could be if you knew what you needed now.
Right.
If you knew who you were and you were able to say, articulate the things that you need, if you were able to tell the difference between your wants and your needs, you know?
And I wrote down earlier that you know, we were talking about our private parts and the value we put on there, but what if value was never placed on their private parts in the beginning?
Oh, yeah.
So it was always a trading factor. You know what I'm saying? So if I wanted love, this is what I had to use for love. And so there was only thing was a trading thing, the value put it on there. So that's how I expressed myself.
But we were taught from an early age, that's how you show you love someone. It's an expression, you know, of love. You know what I mean? Now, I do really believe if you're in love with somebody and you're making love to that person, and even when we think about the word making love feels like this. Oh, it's so slow and smooth. But for some people, making love might be pulling hair and smacking asses. I mean, let's be real. You know what I mean? We learn what these things are. Man, let me tell you something. The best piece of advice I can give everybody is the same thing they tell you when you get out of boot camp and you go to your duty station. I know you just got out of boot camp, but forget everything you just
Right.
learned.
You ain't there no
Forget
more.
everything you just learned, because guess what? Those things are no longer relevant. Let me see. Paige said, like a weeping willow,
That's
the
one of my favorite
parts
parts.
melt together perfectly. Wow. Christina said, I agree, Diamond. I have used my body to try to keep a man, even though I know I deserve more, but I always thought that's how you keep them. It does so much damage, and eventually they grow tired of it. Then you're left there with the energy they left, and that's all you have to hold on to for a while.
Yeah, and you gotta keep turning up the. You gotta keep doing. They used to that becomes their regular. Now you gotta keep upping the ante and doing more.
Yeah, you
know
gotta
what I
start doing cartwheels.
mean? You gotta
know?
start doing some other
Yeah,
stuff. And meanwhile, we never had a real conversation about
about anything.
about anything.
But that's why I say, if you enter into anything, honestly, if the person isn't adding to your life, then why the fuck are you there? And let me tell
And
you
be
something.
honest with it.
You coming does not equate to growth. You coming does not equate to anything. Honestly, you can make yourself come. And I mean, I know some people might be sitting out there like, oh, you sounding vulgar and everything else. But let me tell you something. Sometimes it just is what it is. At the end of the day, I mean, if you're looking for love, you cannot build love. You cannot make someone love you the harder you give it to them. You can't make somebody love you the nastier they get. What you do is you create a habit. You become like crack for somebody. They like doing this with you, but that's all they like doing with you. They may sacrifice and sit still for 2 seconds to hear about a problem you may have, but really the end result is they want to sip from that cup.
Right.
They want you to do what you did yesterday.
Can you do that thing that you did to me
Oh
before?
my God. Oh my God.
That's what they
People
say.
get hooked. People get hooked.
It's it's a euphoric feeling that they
Yeah.
get out of it, and they want that satisfaction, and that's what they'll
Especially
do.
when you get somebody something they ain't never had before.
Yep.
And a lot of times, you know, it's the weirdest thing ever is we equate sex to love. It's just the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And we have to get out of the mindset. No matter what you do sexually, you can't keep somebody who don't want to be kept.
I tell my girls all the time, and I'm very clear with them, and I say it more candidly. But you can have so much sex in life. You can go through life having so much sex and no intimacy. You can be literally your private parts have so much traffic or have so much of body count, but you're still a virgin at heart because you've never had someone infiltrate your heart or have any type of intimacy. You don't know how to. Okay, I don't know how to have a conversation. You want to have sex? I don't know how to, you know what I mean? That's the way we talk. That's the way, that's our love language. That's our communication. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, you saw like makeup sex, when you get really angry with somebody, they're like, that's why it's so euphoric right there. You know what I mean? It's just an act to get that energy out, and we ain't got to say nothing.
Well,
I ain't got to say nothing to you.
Sometimes I think that makeup sex sometimes is so good because some people, they don't express their anger by punching on you. So they think if they freaking, like for a dude, it might be, man, if I could drill this hard enough. Let me tell you something. I can actually remember being in a relationship. It was a long-term relationship, and I was cheated on. And I said this before, for some people watching may know it and other people may not. But I got cheated on, so I went out and cheated on her for cheating on me, and it didn't make me feel better. It didn't even make us feel even. And I really felt like I had to keep on doing it. And I did it and did it and did it. And it didn't make me feel any better. Trying to angry hump on somebody didn't make me feel better. Angry humping on her didn't make me feel any better. Right. Nothing made me feel like better. But this is why a lot of times I say men egos and shit are way more fragile. We're way more sensitive. A woman will forgive a man for cheating on her, but a man, it's kind of like once you let another man inside of you, oh my God, let me tell you something. There literally is no turning back.
Not
you can't come back from that. You can't. Even if that man forgives you, deep down inside, number one, he always going to bring it up every chance he get.
Yep.
He's never, ever going to trust you again.
Right.
Never going to trust you again. And he's always going to dislike you for it.
Yeah.
And I say dislike you for it. He could love you all day long, and he could say he loves you all day long, but deep down inside, there is resentment. Resentment like a motherfucker. And let me tell you, he might not punch on you, he might not smack on you, but one way or another, he's going to pay you back for that every day that you stay with him.
Yeah. I think it's an imagery for men. They will never get that out of their
Man.
head. They can cheat on you with your mama, your sister, your twin sister, your dog, anything. But you cheat on them one time or talk to somebody else, let somebody touch you.
The talking thing is horrible, but the actual sexual thing, man, that's a rough dog to ride, man.
Yeah.
It's a rough dog to ride, and it's a rough road to recovery on that. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Real crazy. But jeez, I want to take this time out. It's 9:47. We got about I think it's 9:45, so we got about 15 minutes. I think that's what it is anyway. So I wanted to take this time out to tell everybody every Monday I do Word Up with Uncle P. That starts at 6 p.m. Every Tuesday, which is tonight, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., I do Open Mic Cafe Live. Next week, I'm going to have Diamond back again so she could tell y'all a little bit more about the other books that she have and the other things that she do. And really, if you are working on a project and you want her input and everything, you know what I mean, please hit her up. And just know when you hit her up, come right. You know what I mean? Because she going to come right. She going to bring it, That's just the way it go. And even nowadays, I'm about supporting, small business because we need to be looking out for each other. And I don't even want to say looking out for each other. It's a shame because we just shop at Walmart, but we look out for small business owners. We don't shop with them. We look out for them, and I just think it's the wrong outlook to have because 9 times out of 10, the smaller business is going to give you better service than the bigger one. And unfortunately, some small businesses, they ain't quite got it right yet. But a lot of people do. You know what I mean? A lot of people do. You know what I mean? So tomorrow night at midnight, I have midnight confessions. Well, I don't want to say tomorrow night at midnight because then that makes it tomorrow morning. So I'll say 11:59 Wednesday night. I start midnight confessions with Storm, and it's a platform where you can call me up. It's a call-in show. You can tell any stories you want to tell. You can talk about your problems. I tell everybody, don't use your name. Please don't use your name. Use a pseudonym. Don't use your name. Don't use your name. Don't use anybody's name. You know what I mean?
Don't put nobody business out there.
You can tell me about anything in this lifetime. I promise you. Just please keep people names out of it. And I get pretty good calls coming in or whatever. So, give me a call. We're going to rap about this. You know what I mean? I got a lot of things in the works. And what I'm trying to do is I really want to open up our minds to the different things that we go through so we can live better, productive lives. You got what I'm saying? So our relationships, we think more and think outside the box when we're meeting people, when we're talking to people, when we engage with people, when we decide this is where I want to be, this is who I want to be with. Then you need to know what questions you should be asking. You need to be talking about more than, what position you like the best, You need to be, it's more important questions than how many people have you slept with,
Right.
It just, take it this way. 9 times out of 10, male or female, whoever you're talking to, they're not a virgin. 9 times out of 10. And I say 9 times out of 10 because there's a couple out there in the world. Where they at, I don't know. But maybe they don't fit that that criteria for the outer look. I don't know. Just putting it out there. So it's 9:50. I want to roll up on some final thoughts. So what do you got on the topic? What you think?
You always say put me on the spot like that.
I said you got 5 minutes.
All right. So I think we covered a lot, though. Mm-hmm. We covered a whole lot. It's like, for real, I wake up and me and Mike have these conversations all the time. Like, I don't know how much time I'm going to have left in life. We don't know the time that, how much time we're going to, but I have the power to live my life to the fullest. And I can choose to keep doing the same thing I've been doing, getting the same results, or I can do something different. And it's going to cost me the me I have been. And I have to decide, is it worth it? And because I have these dreams and because I have a plan, I choose to either live my plan or to sit on the sideline and bury that plan. And like you're alive, you're existing, but you're not alive. And who wants to go through life like that? It's like to have dreams and have a plan, but you choose to keep doing the same thing, getting the same results. That is asinine to me. So I decide to make a decision that to live out my best life by putting things, and you're going to have bad days. I have bad days. And sometimes you want to revert back to, who you've been because it's been engraved in you. You made that your identity, but you have to do the work and discipline to be like, that's not me anymore. I want better. I'm going to do better. And then you start seeing results. If you want better relationships, do the work on yourself and you'll attract what's inside of you. And if you stop being broken or living from a broken perspective, you'll stop attracting, you'll stop accepting, because people will come to you. You'll stop accepting those broken relationships and like, nah, I'm good, because I want what I want, and I'm not going to settle for anything less. So I say do the work, do the discipline, and then, challenge yourself. You're going to be in the same space next week, next year, next month. What do you want to do? Because you have the power to do that.
I agree.
That's where I'm at right now.
100%. Let me tell y'all something. A lot of times, people will, stare into the sun and not even praise its light. We walk out in life, we do what we do, we don't appreciate the things around us, the everyday mundane things that we see, the everyday mundane things that we come into contact with. Everybody else in this world that's walking outside is doing the same things, and you become one of those mundane things. People look at you and they don't attribute all the time, what your value is. And if you don't understand your value, then It's a rough road to travel. If you don't understand who you are, what makes you tick, what makes you happy, and in terms of what makes you happy, don't always make it about somebody else. You know what I mean? Find your baseline happiness, what it looks like for you by yourself. And when you talk to people or somebody trying to approach you, somebody trying to start a relationship with you, have a conversation. If they seem standoffish about questions and things of that nature, man, let me tell you something. You're getting to know somebody. The world is a crazy place. I mean, it should be okay for me to ask you if you got bodies in your basement. I mean, it should be okay. I mean, you might laugh, but you might be like, oh, shit.
Right.
You go burn a little deeper, you know. But what I'm saying is that ask what you need to ask.
Right.
Ask what you need for you to be okay in something. And then when you move forward, you can move forward slowly. Let me tell you something. If you worth the wait, they're going to wait.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just because they didn't wait don't mean you're not worth the wait. Maybe it just means you didn't give up something fast enough. You didn't do something on their clock. You got what I'm saying? So then for them, your value decreased because they didn't get what they wanted in the moment. Now, your value for them may just be a moment, but you want to get with somebody where your value is over a lifetime constantly increasing. You don't want your value to decrease after a moment. You got what I'm saying? It's hard to know who's good for you. It's hard to know who's right for you. It's hard to know, people's intentions walking in the door. Sometimes you're not going to get everything you need from conversations. Sometimes people hide who they are long enough to find you at your weakest point so they can get what it is that they need to get from you.
Right.
You got what I'm saying? But once again, if you take your time, you don't have to hop right in bed. You don't. But if you choose to hop right in bed, I ain't judging you. I'm not judging you at all. But I'm telling you, you don't have to lead with that. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
Let somebody appreciate you for who you are. Let somebody appreciate the space that you're in. You know what I mean? Hey, if you need to go places and do things, if you need to see them in different settings, then set it up that way. Let people know your intentions from the gate.
Right.
Tell somebody flat out, like, look, I ain't into just hopping in the bed with people. It's going to take a minute with me. And if you don't have the patience to wait the time, then it's not going to happen. You need to build trust with me. You do. We need to talk about, more than the weather,
Right.
Exactly. And let conversations be organic.
Yeah.
You got what I'm saying? Take it where you need to take it when you need to take it there. But for the most part, let things be organic. Let people be themselves so you can at least get a glimpse of who they are. Because I always believe, much like back in the day when they used to wear slips, like older ladies in church, every once in a while their slips be showing. So every once in a while people slip up and they kind of show you who they are.
Right.
And just believe those moments you see. And that's it. That is really, honestly it. Tell them where they can find you at again on Facebook and Instagram and all that goodness.
So I put my stuff in the comments. So it's Sherelle Diamond Hogan's on Facebook, and on IG and Twitter is Radical Diamond with a K.
Radical with a K.
Or you can just Google me. Google me.
Also, I did want to try and link up with you about the whole Lyrical Legends thing or whatever. It'd be nice to kind of bring them back pretty soon. We're doing a fundraiser over here at the station, and we're going to be doing like entertainment and stuff like that. So, that Lyrical Legend format, I think it might be a really good thing.
It
really
was
may.
dope.
So I got about 4 minutes left. I'm thinking close to it. So what I'm going to do is a 4-minute piece, and you could just sit there and relax. me.
You know what? I will not be invited on here to be harassed.
When you and I first met, you said we. Now, isn't that what you told me? No more you or I, just us with no tears to cry. Now just waves of deception. With every falsehood, we find a new lesson to learn, like walking through fire, you're sure to get burned. Reduced to ashes with no way to return back to we. Lost within caverns of deception. You see, there's no discretion when we open up our mouths and speak. Pride is so strong, and maybe that's what makes our love so weak. But who's to blame for the present state of mistakes that led us up to this point? I mean, hell, Milli Vanilli blamed it on the rain. So should we just do the same and blame it on what should be? I mean, should we act like we don't even involve you and me, but two other lovers in which time forgot? You see, the intricate plot that we have here is getting old. In the beginning, we were the envy of all love stories ever told, but now we're like that coldest hour before winter's dawn break, burdened with an inevitable tomorrow which only God can negate. But if we could rewind back the hands of time and take back all of the lies and go back to that day before we met, would we do it all again? Find a way to fuck this up and become lovers before we could become friends. I promise you, the end result will always be this. So now I guess that leaves we as you and I. And actually, I think I have like 3 more minutes. So I
Yeah, it
just
wasn't a 4-minute poem.
anyway.
Exactly.
I just want to love you.
Seem longer in your
I
mind.
just want to hold your hand until I no longer know where you end and I begin, and understand that this is not just for one moment in time. You see, what I'm talking about extends way past your palm's lifeline in the way that defines what love should be. Like when the sunset brings forth the night. So right for you, my love can't be wrong. I hope you're listening to me as I sing to you my love song. You're a queen to me. And in the deepest chasms of my soul, my heart calls out for you. You see, when God made you, he did break the mold, yet he formed me from those pieces. And without hesitation, I was to exist, if only for your touch and kiss, which is bliss. See, sometimes I wish that we could switch bodies, just so that I could experience what it's like to touch you from the inside. Baby girl, you ignite my imagination, so when it's time to ride, we burn rubber. And if I can't have you in my life, I don't want any other. You are the sunlight that reflects through raindrops to make my rainbows. You are the current that makes my river flow. And baby, I don't do feet, but I damn sure suck on your baby toes. You see, without you, I'd be incomplete, like a ship without water, a shepherd without sheep. For you, my love is that deep. And I think that's all the time we have. I want
got
to
2
tell
minutes.
y'all, don't, what?
2 minutes.
Damn you! I think she just likes
No,
to do
I'm
stuff
just-
like that too.
No, I'm just.
You just like, you
you
the
know,
2 minutes.
I'm just saying it's always like it's longer in your mind, ain't it? When it's really just a short period of time.
Okay, here you go. This is what I'm going to do then.
I was trying to find
that
one because it
song?
seemed like you're struggling over there.
Oh no, I'm not struggling. I never struggle. I'm talking, and now we got
Got
1
1
minute.
minute.
So here you go. How I go?
It's all right. Just say bye to people.
Hold
Thank
on,
everybody
hold on.
for coming. God bless
I
you.
had to meet you here today.
Oh my gosh.
What? That's the cut.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many things to say.
We're gonna have a support group for everybody who's been
What?
impacted by Mike.
Please don't stop me until I'm through. You can take it away. We getting out
We're
here. I'll
gonna
see y'all
start a
next
support
week.
group. You know what I mean? For everyone been affected by Mike.
Behind the scene, my tears fall down. So many things have happened. The years go by and the friends you have for no more. Jealousy and envy. Wow, because you